The question is asking for you to write the net ionic equation for the following reaction. You're provided with sodium sulfide, zinc chloride, and asked to determine what are the products in this reaction. You're going to look at charges. So identify the charges for sodium, sulfide, zinc, and chloride. And then rearrange so that you have these substances forming new products. Sodium will go with chloride to form sodium chloride. Check your charges, +1, -1. We would consult the solubility rules to understand that that is an aqueous solution. And then we also are left over with zinc and sulfur to form zinc sulfide. It's +2, then -2, everything checks out, and it's just ZNS. And again, you would consult the solubility rules, and you would identify that sulfides are generally insoluble, meaning they form solids, unless they're with alkali metals or ammonia. In this case, zinc is not an alkali metal, it is not ammonia, so it is our solid, it's our precipitate. This reaction is known as your molecular equation. It shows all species in their whole units. From the molecular equation, we want to write an ionic equation. An ionic equation takes all substances that are aqueous and splits them up into their individual ions. Forgot, we need to balance equations. We have 2 chlorines, 2 sodiums, so we would place a 2 here to have a balanced chemical equation. Now we have a balanced chemical equation. We write the ionic equation by taking all aqueous substances, splitting them up into their individual ions, which they're existing as in solution, and we have 2 sodium ions, still aqueous. We have 1 sulfide ion, it's aqueous. We have 1 zinc ion. We also have 2 chloride ions. We have 2 sodium ions on the product side. We have 2 chloride ions on the product side. And since zinc sulfide is a solid, it does not split up into its individual ions. It stays as a solid, so we write it as zinc sulfide. We've now identified our ionic equation. What you want to do is identify species that are in the same state on both sides. Sodium is aqueous on both sides, so it cancels out. Sulfur is aqueous on the reactant side, but in a solid substance on the product side. The same thing with zinc, so they do not cancel. Chloride is found on both sides. They cancel out. Everything that cancels is known as a spectator ion. Our final net ionic equation is going to take all non-canceled species and show them on both the reactant and the product sides. So we have sulfide plus zinc, both ions, both in solution, and they yield zinc sulfide. And if you look, everything balances out. We have 2 negatives on the left, 2 positives on the right. We have 1 sulfur on the left, 1 zinc on the left, 1 sulfur, and zinc on the right. This is our net ionic equation. It only shows the species involved in the reaction.